Alright, you guys, I got my manga haul for 2024, and this is what I picked up. So, starting off, I got Volume 6 of Die Dark. So, if you're not familiar with Die Dark, this was made by the same person that made Dorohedoro, and basically, it's a story about a boy who apparently has like magical bones, and if you take his bones, you can make any wish. So, he's living like a horrible life from starting off as a kid. And he's growing up, and it's also like an outer space cowboy type of thing, almost like Cowboy Bebop. It's a good read. It's mostly comedy, and the comedy is good, but the art style takes a little bit of getting used to. So I would recommend this for somebody who's looking for like an outer space comedy type of thing. And then the next thing I picked up Volume 10 of Sakamoto Days. So if you have never heard of Sakamoto Days, basically imagine like One Punch Man and John Wick got together and just made a manga. That's basically what Sakamoto Days is. It's following about an assassin who's trying to live a normal life because he's now raising a family, but he got a little bit overweight, but that's not stopping him from becoming an assassin. He has a hit on his head, and he's trying to get that off him so he can be with his family. And it's a really nice read. It's very funny, lots of action and overpowered moments. I highly recommend Sakamoto Days. And then next I got is Volume 12 of Zom 100. If you haven't heard of Zom 100, the Netflix show is out. The first season's finally finished, but I've been reading the manga. I love the manga. Very good take on like comedy and horror in the zombie apocalypse. Even though it's mostly more funny than it is scary that it is a zombie apocalypse, it's a nice balance that I see between it. The next one I got Chosen X. And if you never heard Chosen X, this was made by the same person that made Tokyo Ghoul. And it's almost like the premise of Tokyo Ghoul, but instead of like ghouls, they're beasts, I believe they're called. A boy got turned into a beast, and then he's never to be like a normal person again, so he's trying to figure out life as a beast hybrid. But it's a good read to have compared to like Tokyo Ghoul. The next one I have is my favorite, Rooster Fighter. And honestly, as much as like the title suggests, as much as it says, like Rooster Fighter, it's just like how it sounds. It's just a chicken fighting kaijus, and it's like it has such an anime story for a chicken. And honestly, I just love the comedy of it. I'm just like, this is one of the mangas I'm like addicted to right now, so it's like I have to keep reading it. And I haven't read it online. I'm just strictly reading the manga so I can just be patient about it and not binge read the whole thing. Another manga that I picked up that I've been looking forward to for a while was Takopi's Original Sin. Now, I haven't read too much about this. I read the first chapter online, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait till a physical release, and then here it is, physical release. And honestly, I like the premise of it. It's basically about an alien who is trying to invade Earth, but not by invading, but by bringing people happiness as much as he can. And he's trying to bring happiness to this very depressed fourth grader, and she's like really depressed. If you are like experiencing like depression and anxiety, I don't recommend reading this book because it might make you feel depressed. But for anybody else, I highly recommend giving this book a shot. And then the next manga I picked up was Volume 14 and 13 of Mashale. Now Mashale is like it's crazy. I didn't think I would actually like it. It was like I was like reading it. Honestly, I just saw like it looked like Harry Potter. Even though I don't like Harry Potter, it looked like Harry Potter, but it wasn't. So I gave it a read. It was basically like if you just put the plot of Black Clover with One Punch Man as the main character in the world of Harry Potter, and they made it work so well, and it was so hilarious. And honestly, Mosh is like a very simple character, and they make it work very well with him. And the next manga I picked up was Don't Toy With Me Nagatoro. Honestly, I love the anime. I binge watched both season 1 and 2, and I was like, you know what, let me just pick up the manga. So I picked up the manga. I'm all caught up on the manga physically, and then now I'm just catching up the collection of it. And then the next manga that I got was volume 35 and 36 of My Hero Academia. And honestly, My Hero Academia was like one of the main reasons why I started collecting manga and also started reading more manga. It all started back in like season one, well, back when the tournament arc started. And it was like once that ended, I was like, I had to see what happens next. And then, like, ever since then, every single day, well, every single week, I just been reading My Hero Academia. So I just been collecting it physically because it's like one of the mangas that honestly started me to just like start reading and collecting manga. And the other manga, if you haven't noticed so far, I got a lot of manga in this haul because I collect a lot of manga. If you cannot tell by all of this, I collect a lot of manga. So it's a big haul. So now I have volume 28 and 27 of Komi Can't Communicate, and I've been reading Komi Can't Communicate for a while. Ever since it was like in the chapter 100s, I've been reading it, and then now I started collecting it, and I watched the anime. The anime did a decent job on Netflix, but I'll say the manga does a better job at like explaining scenes that happen. So I highly recommend reading the manga for Komi Can't Communicate, but if you watch the anime, that is perfectly fine too. And alright, you guys, I am saving the best for last. I had to get this manga because this is my number one favorite manga so far, right? Well, it's tied next to Chainsaw Man, and that is volume 5 and 6 of Dan Da Dan. Now, Dan Da Dan is like my favorite manga that I have read in such a long time. I had to say the first one would be like Chainsaw Man and then One Piece. Like outside of those two, Dan Da Dan caught up to that really quickly within like the first few chapters. And if you haven't read Dan Da Dan or even heard Dan Da Dan, it is basically a boy meets a girl, and the boy believes in aliens and stuff like that, but the girl believes in spirits, but they don't believe in each other. So then they try to believe in each other by going to a abduction site, and the boy goes to a haunted tunnel, and then moments later, the boy's cursed, and the girl has psychic powers. So now they're trying to figure out how to live a normal life, if it is normal. So yeah, I had to get volume 5 and 6 of Dan Da Dan. And with that, that is the end of the manga haul. Now what I'm going to be doing is going over what's behind me in my manga shelf. Alright, you guys, let's start off from the very top. So this part. Alright, so right here, this is my not safe for work manga. I'm not even going to explain them. So moving over this is the time I got reincarnated as a girl. So that was just my one manga that I was just looking for. If I can get it back in here, there we go. Yeah, I was just looking for a non-mainstream manga to read and pick that up. It's pretty good. And same with Die Dark. Die Dark is a like non-mainstream one. And like I said before, it's about a boy who grants wishes with his bones, but to him, he actually believes it's a myth. So moving over, we got Undead Unluck. Honestly, it's like one of my good binge reading series. So I'm collecting all of them right now. I am majority, like I'll say like 80% of all this manga here I have read online, and since I liked it, I wanted to pick it up physically so that way I can just physically read it as well. So I mainly read all these twice, and then now with that explanation moved out the way, I got Spy Family. I've been reading Spy Family way before the anime came out. So I have Spy Family here. And then I also try to keep my manga organized by author. So, well, by mangaka, I should say. So the mangaka here is Tatsuya Endo. And then move on to his next work, Tista. Tista, honestly, I thought it would be better than what I expected. I read the first volume, and I got the second volume in case I wanted to see if it gets better, but I haven't even touched the second volume yet because the first volume was just like kind of iffy. And moving on, I got Sakamoto Days. Sakamoto Days is like one of my favorite underrated manga. as you can tell. So I got all 10 volumes going down to here. And then moving on to my favorite mangaka, Tatsuki Fujimoto, with Fire Punch. I got all 8 volumes. This was an incredible read. Very depressing though, but I do highly recommend this for a read, especially if you love Chainsaw Man, which you see right here. I'll get to that in a second. But Fire Punch was amazing, and it's crazy how this was his first work, and it was so out of pocket, like very out of pocket, with everything that is read in here. Everything that's drawn, the story, everything was good. I highly recommend giving Fire Punch a read. Yeah, let me show you the first volume. Yeah, Fire Punch. I highly recommend giving that a read. And then I have all of his one shots. I have Goodbye Eerie. Goodbye Eerie was, like, panel wise, was amazing. I love the paneling, the story, everything. Goodbye Eerie. This was a good one shot. And Look Back was also a really good manga. Great one shots. And then I even got 17 to 21 and 22 to 26. This was like his very first one shots that he made when he was like even before he was discovered. He just published them. And I haven't read 22 to 26, but 17 to 21 was really good. And then I got my favorites all right here lined up. So I got Chainsaw Man, and I'm gonna show you guys why this volume 1 of Chainsaw Man is my favorite, because not only is this my favorite manga, but I got this autographed by the dub voice actor for Denji, and I highly hold this to a pedestal. I keep it in here so that way, because if I keep it on a pedestal, obviously people know it's valuable to me, so I keep it blended in. But yeah, I was actually first in line. I was very first in line at Comic-Con, and I was the very first person he signed. An interesting fact, the dub voice actor for Denji actually loved the Chainsaw Man manga way before he even discovered that he can voice act for him, so he was very happy to get the role. So highly recommend reading Chainsaw Man or watching the anime. They both did a good job. I even got the light novel Buddy Stories. Oh, right here. Yep. I got the light novel Buddy Stories, which is basically just the Adventures of Power and Denji. So I got all 13 volumes, and then also volume 12 from, like, this is part 2. So for anyone that's new, from volume 1 to 11 is part 1, and then 12 and up is part 2. So yeah, it's 2 parts. But now moving on, this is Ayashimon. This manga was made by the same person who made Hell's Paradise, and honestly, I wish this manga would last longer. Sadly, it's only these 3 volumes, but the story and characters was so good in here for just something that's like 3 volumes. I wanted it to at least be longer, but sadly, I got these 3 volumes because I really liked it, and I was sad to see it go. And of course, I got Jujutsu Kaisen 0. I haven't started catching up the manga or picking up the manga because right now Jujutsu Kaisen is not really on my list, but I will plan on picking it up at some point. But I got Jujutsu Kaisen 0 because I never got a chance to read 0. And now on to my other favorite, Dan Da Dan. I got all 6 volumes of Dan Da Dan now, and it's still ongoing. And interesting fact, the creator of Dan Da Dan was the assistant to Tatsuki Fujimoto. So the assistant to Chainsaw Man made Dan Da Dan, and it has a lot of similarities, and you can see why he, I want to say likes Chainsaw Man, but it's like you can see it's inspired by Chainsaw Man. Because funny enough, he started with him all the way back to Fire Punch. So moving on, I got Kaiju number 8. Kaiju number 8 is honestly like one of the best new gens right now. It's like one of my favorites, and like the way they keep the story going, the characters, the action sequence, it is amazing. I highly recommend picking up Kaiju number 8. And then I got Mashale right next to it. I already explained Mashale before. And then moving on down some more. As you can see, I got a lot. Yeah, I got all 14 volumes of Mashale. Now moving on to Yozakura family. This one, honestly, it's a good read. I like it. The story's good. For some reason, I just couldn't keep reading onto it. I read all the way up to volume 3, and I'm collecting the rest because I want to finish it. But right now, it's not like in my mind an urgent read that I just want to binge watch. But it's not. It's really good. It's literally about a boy who got married into assassin family, and he mainly did it so that way the the girl's brother doesn't kill him, and now he has to be part of the Yozakura family and become an assassin. It's honestly a good read. It's very funny, and I highly recommend it. And Akane Nabashi, or Banishi, it's basically a comedy manga. I only read like the first chapter. I gotta keep reading it, but so far so good. It's really nice. And then Shoha Shoten is honestly really funny. The jokes does go over the head because it's mostly catered to like Japanese audiences, but the paneling and like the story of how it goes, you can obviously tell like the jokes are funny. And right now I'm waiting for the 4th volume because volume number 3 left off on a big cliffhanger, so I need volume 4. And then I got Call of the Night. I'm not too big into like vampires, but Call of the Night is a good, how you say, like romance comedy. It's a rom-com of a boy who is an insomniac and meets a vampire girl, and now he wants to become a vampire, but the only way to become a vampire is for the vampire to fall in love, and she's not trying to fall in love. So it's a good rom-com for anybody who's looking for a good rom-com to read. And then I got the legendary Deadpool Samurai. Honestly, when I heard Deadpool had a manga, I instantly had to go pick it up. I got the 2 volumes right here, and honestly, it's a good read. Very short, but very good. Deadpool makes a really good manga character. And then I got all of Solo Leveling here, all 7 volumes. Oh yeah, I forgot it's on this side. So yeah, I got Solo Leveling. And then here I have Crazy Food Truck. Now, Crazy Food Truck was honestly like something I didn't expect I would like. I picked it up just out of a whim, and honestly I'm glad I did, because this is basically based on a post-apocalyptic world where everything is like a desert. There's no water anywhere, but this guy is trying to make a living driving a food truck in the middle of a desert, serving people, because that's what he wants to do. And then he finds a girl in the street, and apparently something's wrong with the girl, and so now he's trying to figure out what's wrong with the girl, who is she, and what do the people want with her. So honestly, I highly recommend Crazy Food Truck if you look for something out there to read. And then I have Chosen X, and like I said before, this was made by the same person that made Tokyo Ghoul, so I do recommend reading that. If you love Tokyo Ghoul, you'll love Chosen X. So I highly recommend you picking up Chosen X if you do. Now I have Rooster Fighter. Like instantly from like the name, I wanted to just pick up. So I picked it up, and I have not regretted it since. So if you're looking for something funny with action, highly recommend Rooster Fighter. So give that a read. And then I have Prince Freya. Honestly, my little brother got this for me, and it's not bad, but it's not for me, if that makes sense. It's basically about a girl trying to impersonate a prince so that way she can save her village, and she's trying to do that with only like 3 people knowing that she's actually a female and not actually a guy. So she's just trying to live as the prince, which is hard for her to do because she's shy and timid, and the prince is outgoing and enthusiastic. So I would recommend this for someone who's trying to find something like cozy to read or something. But so far it's just not for me. That's why I only got the 2 volumes right here. And then moving on, I got Elusive Samurai. I got the 7 volumes right here. Now, Elusive Samurai was made by the same person that made Assassination Classroom, so I was like, okay, let me give it a shot. And it's good. It is good, but right now it's not like a thing that I want to read. Like, yes, I read all 7 of these, but I'm not like trying to go online and try to read it all. I'm just going to try to read it on manga because it's not really too urgent for me to read. And now I have right here Don't Toy With Me Nagatoro. Like I said, I love the anime. I had to pick up the manga, so now I got all 15 volumes of Don't Toy With Me Nagatoro. And this right here, Good Night Pun Pun. This is depression you have to earn. I'm not even going to talk about it. It's just straight depression. Alright, and then I got B-Stars right here, because you guys can roast me in the comments, but I like B-Stars. B-Stars, I watched the Netflix anime, and I caught up to the manga. All the way caught up to the manga. I'm just now started collecting. Got the first 6 volumes of B-Stars, and B-Stars is actually a good read. And no, I'm not part of the furry community. And moving on, I have Zom 100. Like I said, Zom 100 is on Netflix if you ever wanted to read it. I mean, watch it, but I read the manga before the anime came out, and like I enjoyed all the reads. So now I'm going to be enjoying reading the latest volume. And now moving on to the same person that made Zom 100 is Alice in Borderland. This manga honestly had me in a chokehold because I started off with just 1. And when I say that I instantly went and got the rest, I instantly got the rest from 1 to 5, and then I picked up 6 and 7. So like I was reading this straight back to back to back, like non-stop. I couldn't put this down. So like if you want to read that is like intense and very cohesive with the story, I honestly recommend Alice in Borderland. And there is a Netflix live action, and I watched the live action. I got my wife to watch it. She loved it. And honestly, other than like the first few episodes, the rest are actually kind of canon. They just mixed in some characters. But if you want to watch the live action, you can. But I highly recommend the manga because it's more consistent. But Alice in Borderland, for those who don't know, is basically about a group of friends seeing fireworks, and that they got transported into a world where nobody's around. It's like post-apocalyptic, and they gotta play these games in order to survive. And the intense part is like knowing when they're going to live or where they're going to die. So that's the part that got me hooked. So if you want to read that, you can. And I got Taco P's Original Sin, like I said before. Then I picked up, and then these right here are like the mangas that I'm not really caring about, like Lefner. I just gotta get it. And then Hell's Paradise. It's just very hard to find volume 2 because I don't want to buy like 3, 4, 5 and then like miss 2. I want to start from 2 and then up. So that's why it's just been 1 so far. But Hell's Paradise is a good read. And then this is a Final Fantasy light novel of Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3, all in novel form. But yep, that is all the manga on this shelf. Alright, now on to my long lasting shelf. Starting from over here, we got Komi Can't Communicate. Honestly, Komi Can't Communicate is a really good manga. I literally read from 1 all the way up to 26. I got 27, 28. Literally just got 28 and 27. So I'm just going to wait till I get 29 because I like reading at least 3 volumes at a time of this series because it's really just that good. And I do highly recommend reading Komi Can't Communicate. If you got the budget, try to get all of them. But if you don't, just start a little at a time. And now my favorite, My Hero Academia Vigilantes. Now, Vigilantes is an amazing spin-off from My Hero, and it's all canon. Like, this is all canon. I got all 15 volumes right here. And like, I don't want to spoil anything, but honestly, I highly recommend giving My Hero Academia Vigilantes a read. The protagonist is amazing. The character is amazing. Even like the ongoing people in My Hero here, like Aizawa, Endeavor, all of them. They're all in this manga, and they help the protagonist occasionally. So I highly recommend, if people have been telling you to read Vigilantes, listen to them and just read Vigilantes. You won't be disappointed. And now, moving on, I got My Hero team up missions. So it's another spin-off. It is a good spin-off because it actually goes in depth as into their internship. I got all 3 volumes right here. I do recommend reading these if you want to know like how their internship went after they got their license. So as you see, they did Midoriya, Todoroki, and Bakugo's story. So I highly recommend these as a read. And then I got not all of My Hero Academia, but I got from volume 1 all the way up to 15, and then 21 up to current, which is 36. And the reason for that is because My Hero was the first manga I started to collect, like I said, but I started off with the arc that was my favorite, which was from 21 up. At the time, it was 21, 22, 23, all the way up to My Villain Academia. But then they had volumes 1 and 2 on sale, so I got 1 and 2. And then I was like saying, why do I have 1 and 2 and then it goes up to 21? So I was saying, let me just fill this up. So I started to slowly build up my collection. I got all the way up to 15. So now I need 16 through 20, and then my collection will be complete. So if you're wondering why I got 15 to 21, that's why. And then now next to my Hero is my favorite series, Black Clover. So I got all the way up to 27. So I slowly started to build this up. So yeah, I got Black Clover here. So honestly, I love Black Clover. The manga is amazing. I believe the current manga at this time in the video is like 35 or 34. I gotta catch up onto that. But right now, as for my long-lasting series, I got it right here, and then I'm gonna give this a second read again later. And then, let me get my shadow out the way. I have right here all of Demon Slayer. So, yep, I got all of Demon Slayer right here, 1 through 23. I even got the buddy stories with Rengoku and Giyu. So I have that. And honestly, I love Demon Slayer. The manga was amazing, and I like the ending. The ending was very nice. I wish there was just a little bit more, that's all. And then I have all of Death Note, because for some reason, I, for one, never liked Death Note. I never liked the anime. For some reason, I just couldn't get into the anime. But the manga, I could read it, and it was very good. Like, I like how the panel was, and honestly, the story was more cohesive in the manga than it was in the anime. Even though it did follow it, for some reason, I just like the manga a little bit more than the anime. I even got the side stories. Now, for some reason, like, the side stories was a lot better. I like the side stories a lot better than Death Note in the whole. But you can put that in the comments below if I'm right or wrong. And then I got Fooly Cooly, because I love Fooly Cooly. Fooly Cooly was honestly like one of my first animes next to Naruto. So I picked up Fooly Cooly only because of nostalgia reasons. And then I got Spider-Man Fake Red. I haven't read this yet, but Spider-Man is my favorite superhero, and he has a manga, and that's all I needed to know. And then now I have, let me rest right here. Okay. Vagabond. Vagabond is a very good manga that I have never been able to read, and it was hard to find volume 1. So I got it, and I also read it, and so far in volume 1, I'm going to love this series. So I'm going to wait to get volume 2 through 8. And then my horror series, I finally picked up Gyo, Uzumaki, and Tome from Junji Ito. In order, my favorite goes from down here, like Tome, then Uzumaki, then Gyo. And honestly, I loved all 3 of them. My wife loved all 3 of them, and it's a good series to pick up. And that right there is everything from my long-lasting series. And then, side note, I have Berserk 1 through 5. I'm going to get the rest of the big books, but this is all the rest of my manga that I have right here. So yeah, that is my collection. I am still expanding it, and as you can see, it is a lot of manga right here behind me. And I didn't realize it until I was going through every single one. But I hope you liked the video, and please like and subscribe if you like what you see. And until next time, have a blessed day.